I want to talk to you a little bit about habit number six. Habit number six, step number six, which is to make more money with real estate and with your businesses. Step number one is to make more money with your job and your small business, your individual business. Two is to separate it. Three, give some away. Four is to automatically invest. And five is to save and spend. If you do those things, that will help you on your journey and you can become financially independent. But we want you to be wealthy. It means you need to add number six and number seven. And we want to talk to you a little bit about real estate. Now, why real estate? Well, because real estate keeps up with inflation. Real estate beats inflation. It's one of the ways that my wife and I created our wealth, and it's how the foundation was funded. It's how it was funded. So let me tell you a little bit about that. But I just want to tell you, kind of give you a background into this. I'm one of 10 kids, and you can see I'm number seven on here. And my littlest sister's not even on this picture, but my mom and dad both only had one sibling. They wanted to have a big family, and so I'm one of 10 kids. And this is a picture of my mom and dad. My mom and dad are compassionate capitalists. Both mom and dad were born in 1930. They grew up during World War II, um, and they had to learn a lot of things, and they had to learn how to be able to survive. They fell in love in high school, got married, and started a family. And my grandpa, who's on the front row right there on the left with his brother, started a in a garage. They found a garage and they would literally go uh, around the different places around town and smaller other towns and find old cars that people that weren't running, and they would buy them and tow them back to the garage, and they'd fix them up, and then they would get them running again, and then they would sell them. And then eventually they got a Chrysler dealership and eventually a Chevrolet dealership, but it all started with my grandpa right there in the front row with he and his brother. And then my dad was just a young teenager, just in his early teens when that happened. And then that has gone down to the third generation. And so we've been four generations in the car business. That's me on the far right hand side. There's seven of us boys. And the problem with the car business was they let me sand the cars to paint them. We had got to clean them up, but I never got to drive them. But my dad taught me about real estate, and I fell in love with real estate more than I did the car business. Well, I fell in love with the girl of my dreams. We got married, and we started a family. I served a Christian mission for our church, and this is my wife and I, and my parents are on next to me, and my wife's parents are next. And so both of my parents and Ladon's parents have we give out scholarships, and we do that in their honor. Then something really happened that really changed my life forever. I had a heart attack when I was 34 years of age, and as they were wheeling me into the operating room, I wondered, was I coming back? And if I didn't come back, who's going to take care of these special needs children of mine? And you can see there's my wife holding on to my little son and to my daughter. Of I have five children, and I have two of them that have some special needs to it. And when that heart attack happened, I knew I had to find a way to be able to, one, I was lucky. One third of the people who have a heart attack just die, they're just gone. And I needed to find a way to be able to take care of these two special needs children. And so I really went to work and tried to figure that all out. Um, and I got a chance to really be mentored by my parents. My mom and dad taught us about compassionate capitalism. The stuff I'm teaching you is not stuff I've made up. Stuff is stuff I've had mentors that have taught me this. And my mom and dad were huge on that. My mom and dad have done some amazing things. When um, in 1984, my parents started an investment funds for their then 12 grandchildren. They had 12 grandchildren. If there's 10 of us kids, there's going to be a handful of grandchildren. And when my mom and dad both passed away, they had 70 grandchildren, but all 70 of those grandchildren had a money tree. It's a little small little money tree that they planted for them. My mom and dad took care of it. They watered it. They groomed it. All these kids had investment accounts or sub accounts. And when that child got to be age 21, they could take that money out and use it for a business. They could use it for school. They could use it for a home, real estate. Um, and they gave them a hand up. But my mom and dad planted the money trees when these kids were just little and small. And that's part of what your job is. The foundation is about you helping your family and friends have a better life. My mom and dad did that. They didn't just talk about it, they pulled the trigger and they made it happen. So not only did my dad teach me these things, and he taught me these things by doing it. And some of the lessons he taught me as a teenager, I still use today, you know, 50 years later. And all we did is add zeros to the things that my mom and dad taught us, the strategies and the systems and stuff like that. And my dad learned from other people. But the amazing thing was is that they taught us how to do it. We did it. They pulled the trigger. The reason you're in this foundation is to leave a legacy and to help other people. And to help. The only way you can get what you want out of life is to help other people get what they want out of life. That's really true. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my friend Richard Allen, who passed away, that I attended his funeral yesterday. Um, and, both my mom and dad have passed away, but when they did, they had 70 grandchildren. And each of those grandchildren have an investment account. And so they got a leg up, they got a start. Now, there's two pieces to that. One is they put some financial resources aside for them, but number two is they taught us. And not only just taught us, we did it. They didn't do a lot of teaching. We just did. We did. We went up and made it happen. So there's activity and then there's results. And we actually, we failed a lot. We did stuff. Stuff worked. Some stuff didn't work, but they made all of that work. And so I'll be forever grateful for my parents that have taught us these things, because our job is to hand that legacy down to the next generation. And I want to talk a little bit about my good friend Robert Allen. Robert Allen's the author of Nothing Down and Multiple Streams of Income, Creating Wealth. And I got a chance to meet Bob when he spoke at my university. We had what they called the Executive Lecture Series, and it was a class that very successful people would come and speak to the students. And I got a chance to meet him, and I attended his Nothing Down seminar. Didn't have enough money to get in, had to kind of talk my way in. They gave me a student discount price. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to stay in. And I went through the Nothing Down seminar, and the one thing that I learned was that it was possible, to be able to do these things. And yesterday I attended a funeral, and Bob had an older brother named Richard that was part of the Nothing Down program. And my good friend David McDougall, and these are people that I luckily had a chance to work with. I got a chance to work with him when I was in college. I dropped out of school in my third year to work with Bob, not because I wanted a job, but I wanted to hang out with people that were doing it. And just as a tribute, I was talking to both David and to Bob and to Rich and Richard's family yesterday, and how they made a huge difference in my life. These guys made a huge difference in my life. I go back and connect the dots, and it was massive. We bought millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of real estate, and the foundation was funded because of the things I learned from these guys and from my dad. That's why we're creating it the way that we're creating it. But I had a chance after this heart attack that I had, is I was able to talk to Bob and try and get some advice. Because of the special needs child of mine, I needed to make a lot of money, because the programs there, we'd have to move to California, we'd have to move to UCLA and Los Angeles. Back then it was $40,000, plus I'd have to find a job there and survive there and everything else. And I just didn't have the money. And I said, Bob, what are we going to do? And he says, you know what, Tom, you go figure out how to make enough money that you can spend that money on your special needs children for training and whatever they need, and never look back and never worry about it. Okay, that's what we'll do. And so by following the intuition of the things that my dad taught me, following the things that I learned from Bob Allen and brother Richard and David, I went out and started doing those things. I had a lot of mentors. Wade Cook was a mentor of mine. John Childers was a mentor of mine. Nick Kuhn sold 1,100 houses. These guys I got to hang out with them, and I learned from them. And then I went out and did it. And so I figured out I got to go create multiple streams of income. And one of the things that I want to help you with is I want to help you with, because multiple streams of income is really step number 6. If you want to be wealthy, which you're going to need to be, you need to incorporate step number 6, multiple streams of income. You add real estate, add businesses, and make them big businesses. And so this is a property I want to show you because all of you can do this. All of you can do this. This is just one property. I'm going to show you the extreme. But this is one of the first deals I did. The very first deal my wife and I did. We found this little property. We fixed it up, and then I made a mistake. I had it appraised. We were going to make a lot of money on it. I bought it for. You're just going to giggle when I tell you the pricing on this, but I bought it for $20,000. Remember, my gosh, this was, 4 decades ago. Just add zeros to it. It's not the amount, it's the percentages. And we got it appraised for 35,000 bucks. We were going to make 10, 15 grand on it. And I bought it, fixed it up, and I made one small mistake. I only talked to one person about getting new financing on it. And it was an older house, and the bathroom was connected to the kitchen. There was a bathroom right off the kitchen. And they says, well, that doesn't qualify for the financing we have. And as a result, I fixed the house up and I got a little flustered with it. And I just gave it back after I fixed it up, I gave it back to the guy. And he sold it to somebody else and made all that money. And like an idiot, I didn't go talk to my mentors. I was embarrassed that I'd made that mistake. Now I didn't know that that was the case, and there's like 20 or 30 things I could have done differently. Now, with a little bit of I could have just asked Bob, but some options were I've come up with some ideas, but I was a little embarrassed. I just handed it back, but I had the belief that it was still possible. And this is one of the earlier projects, and we bought this property for a lot. This gal got a divorce. Her and her husband were married. They had a bunch of kids. They got a divorce. She moved. She got the house, and he got the kids, and they ripped the crap out of this house. They just didn't care. And you can see that down in the basement, there was just loads of crap down there. Nobody wanted this house because it was a mess. Well, I like messes. I like fixing problems. Um, you can see that's dog poop that's all over the carpet. When you walk into a house and you can smell dog crap in there, that's a good sign because everybody else is walking away. To make more money, and number one habit is solve problems and then add value to it. I'm going to throw it all out anyway, so I don't care what it looks like. You can see there was a magazine. The only thing that they had of any value is they had a bunch of girly magazines, which they came back and got. Um, this is what the bathtub looks like, and you can see that they just didn't take care of it, and I think they worked in the oil fields or something like that, and they just beat the living crap out of this house. That's the toilet. Look at that. They never cleaned it, never fixed it. And it didn't matter to me because I'm going to throw it all out anyway. So I want it to be bad. There's the kitchen right there. It doesn't matter to me because I'm going to throw it all out and fix it anyway and replace all of it. Here's underneath the sink, when they put a bucket under there. Well, sometime that bucket's going to get clear full, and then water's going to go over the side, which it did, and it created all kinds of water messes. Uh, there's the stove. I didn't care what it looked like. I'm going to throw it out anyway. And so we started fixing up. Now, this is my wife and I, and we were just married. She was pregnant with our first child, and this is my beautiful wife that we've been together. This week will be our 44th year that we've been together. We've been married for going on to 40 and a half years, but we've been together for going on 44 years, and we're out there painting and fixing up this house. And I'm showing you what it looked like before because I want you to understand. We started with nothing and started with something small. There we are fixing it up and painting. There's that little paint roller. I'd literally open that cap and dump paint in it and paint the wall. And you can see I've got my college shirt on right there. I hired some friends that came in and put a new roof on it. They took the old roof off and put a new roof on. They were ripping up the old floor and putting down a new floor. Um, you can see that my friend right here, Steve, and my wife, we took out that cabinet. You'll notice that she's got a broom, but he's got a hammer because there's cockroaches running all over. Now, most of you are going freaking out because it's such a mess. Great. I love it. I love it when everybody else runs the other direction. That means you're going to get a wonderful deal and you can make a lot of money on this. So we cleaned the whole place up. We put back in the day, we cleaned it all up. And this is what it starts to look like. So just getting rid of all that junk. They had a motorcycle track in the back. The mayor of this town came up and thanked us for fixing up this house. And we made a lot of money on that house. And that's what it looked like afterwards. And you can see there was all kinds of weeds and stuff like that. We had to take all those out. We had a dump truck that we hauled out about 20 loads of crap out of that house and that yard. And this is the kind of before picture, and that's the after picture. Beautiful. There's the kitchen, fix up kitchens for women. Fix up kitchens for women because men, honestly, we don't care. Get a woman on your team. A woman needs to be on your team because they're going to personalize it. And when you paint, don't paint your properties to what you like. Paint them neutral. Cream colors and a light yellow for bathrooms and kitchens. If you paint it a blue color, somebody's going to walk in there and go, I don't like blue, and then they walk away and not buy the property. Well, if you paint it one color that doesn't offend anybody, they walk in there, I'd like to turn this green. Well, then they can paint it green. There's the bathtub. I didn't care because we're going to rip it out anyway. There's the toilet. Where do you do you're negotiating? You do your negotiatings right there in the bathroom. And there's the after picture. So just by yanking the old stuff out, put new stuff in, and that's what the bathroom looked like afterwards. There's the kitchen. Just it didn't matter. We're just gonna rip it all out anyway. So some of it you can't fix. So now a lot of times we just go in there and paint, clean up the crap and paint and get water on the grass and make it look good. Sometimes they were just really, really ugly, so we just ripped them apart. And this is how we started. And we made as much money on this deal, as much as I made in 9 months of work by doing one deal. So occasionally you've got to make a chunk of cash. You've got to do the top 5 things to survive and to start building your long-term wealth. But occasionally you got to do number 6. You need a chunk of cash. You need to flip a deal. You need to make some money on that deal and flip a deal. And this is my wife and I. You can see I had hair back then. So we were just very young, we were very, very in our 20s. And there's that big old check that we made right there. So that's kind of the key, guys. You know, um, Step number 1 through 5 is going to help you become financially independent, but it's longer and slower. Number 6 habit, number 6 step. You need to make extra chunks of money. You need to make some extra chunks of money. You need to make more money with your real estate, make more money with your businesses. You need to turn your small businesses into large businesses. And then number 7 is that you make money from every one of these areas. I was just a kid and I was helping my dad scrape the old paint off the house that was next door to where we grew up. He'd bought that house, and I said, Dad, can I get paid for doing this? And he goes, No, son, get back to work. Well, I could say that wasn't quite the answer, and I had the gumption to ask him later, Dad, are you sure I can't get paid for helping fixing up this old house and stuff? And he goes, Son, we bought this house so we'd have some extra money to put you kids through college. Now, as an early teen, I didn't really care about college that much. And then he said something to me I'll never forget. He says, Son, did you know that some people make so much money off of their businesses, their small businesses, large businesses, their investments, and their real estate that they don't have a job? All they do is manage those things. Whoa. I mean, can you imagine a father telling that to a young teenage kid? Some people make so much money off their real estate. They make money off their businesses. They make money off their investments. They don't have a job. All they do is manage that. Well, that's what we do. 95% of my time is now spent in the foundation because I did all those things. And my goal is to help you and by giving this information back to you. So I've got to kind of tip my hat and pay tribute to the people that taught me. And yesterday I attended the funeral of Richard Allen. Richard Allen and Bob Allen were brothers. Bob is a little bit older. I'm sorry, Bob is younger than Richard. And David McDougall. And I got a chance to talk to Richard's family. He passed away at 87. He had written a lot of wonderful books. Talked to Bob, talked to David, and I told him how grateful I was for each of those for making those huge differences in me. This picture of my wife and I. This is when we were working with Bob and with Richard and with David. This is their building right here. Let's see if I can show you this where I'm standing right here. This is, let's see, right there. That's their office right there. That's the office. And that used to be a girls' apartment complex that they converted into offices. And that's where I worked. Um, but I learned so much from them. And I was just told them how grateful I was. And I told them about the foundation, of all the great stuff we're doing. And it's because of the things I learned from them 20 years ago. You know, these are the things that I learned from them that we've been doing over time. The only difference between my wife and I and you is time. You know, a lot of our people we work with, my Ethan and Josh and Daryl and Ryan and Kath and Johnson, early 20s and 30s. The only difference between me and you is I just went there first. I've already gone through the loop. I'm in the fourth quarter of my life. On your headstone, you're going to have a day you were born and a day that you were died. And then it's your job to go do all those things in the middle of that. And it's your job to leave a legacy. So Richard Allen wrote a whole bunch of books. One of his legacies was he authored all these wonderful books. Bob Allen's legacy is he authored all these wonderful books, all these trainings, wonderful, wonderful materials that he's created. David, big businesses that he's created. He was the one that really helped get all that great information out, and I learned so much from him. And so the foundation is built on the shoulders. I'm standing on the shoulders of people that helped get this built. My parents, my mom and dad, Richard Allen, Bob Allen, David McDougall, all the other guys, Nick Kuhn, about 1,100 houses, mentored us, talked to us. And I could see it was possible because they had done it. Wade, John, Childers, just all these guys that have made a huge difference. I'm standing on their shoulders. And guess what? I want you to stand on my shoulders. I'm turning 66 here. You know, who knows how much time you got on this earth? You got to make it happen while you're here. So that's why we do what we do in the foundation. That's why the foundation is designed the way it's designed. And guess what? It's multiplying and it's compounding. And it's compounding because of you. You are the ones that are making a difference. You're the ones that are telling other people. You're the ones that are helping them. Your job is to help people around you to have a better life. And they do that by learning, earning, and returning. That's the way we created it. And that's why it's working so well. You're making a difference. You're making it happen because every life is precious.